123 of my rapid rating climb series, and we are on a journey to 1000 ELO. If you guys enjoy my content, please like and subscribe. And without further ado, let's get into today's game. Alright, jump over here, get some tunes on. Deep breath, and here we go. Good apple 25. Good luck. We will play a Karo Khan. D5. I think taking, he's going to recapture. This will transpose into like the Tartakower. So we develop our bishop here and castle. I think getting the rook over is probably a better move, but I am going to do that, I guess, and then go for this pin maybe. This knight likes to come to D7. Also, we can drop the bishop back and do something like this. Yeah, we'll get the knight kind of ready for action. Drop the bishop back. With this, I don't think taking is a good move because we don't really want to trade. But if I back up and he plays this, I will be doing this. I don't know how I feel about that. He takes, I'll have a pawn cube, which is something for sure. I'm gonna take. I don't think that I was supposed to. I think that I should drop back. My opponent's playing really fast, so I'm not very worried about my opponent at the moment. I'm gonna get my pieces finished developing, and we'll go from there. So my opponent's finally starting to spend a moment to think. I don't know if it was a good move for me to take. It was probably better for me to drop back and then for him to potentially weaken his structure. So what does he want? He wants to sacrifice here, I take, and then what? I actually don't have to take with the king. I can take with my knight. He's gonna do this. I could just move my king over, and then that doesn't work anymore. I could also develop my queen, would probably be useful. I think I'm gonna move the king over so that when he tries that, I can actually just take. I'm not that worried about it. I definitely want to get my queen activated. I was looking at a square like that. I could play a move like this. I don't really think that's that great of a move. Yeah, I'm not very fluent in the Tartakower. Like, I know kind of where the pieces should go, but when my opponent plays weird, it's kind of hard for me to see why a move is better than another, maybe, if that makes sense. But we did get my opponent slowed down a little bit. He's spending a little time thinking, so that helps me a little bit because I should be thinking about what I would like to do maybe next. So it looks like he's attacking this. I can develop. I could also just get my knight over here. That might be a good square. But I also think that just getting my queen... Ooh, actually, I don't know if I really want the queen trade. I could slide my queen over here. I don't think I want a queen trade. But I do think that this is being attacked right now. I think moving my queen up like this is not a terrible move. He's going to bring a rook to this file, which will make it a little more annoying. I can just develop the knight. So if he takes, I can recapture with the pawn. I gotta be careful with his bishop giving a discovery on my queen. But I could just drop my queen back here right now. Could also move my queen here. I have a feeling he's gonna capture and build pressure on the pawn. I'm looking at moves like this after maybe get my rook over to here and dropping this bishop back and sliding my queen over to here. So I think I should take. I could also just take this pawn. I think I'll take the pawn. Because now I can actually bring my queen here and this is reactivated. He could take, I can just recapture with my queen. Um, so I'm thinking about getting my queen here right now. And that looks like a semi-appealing move. I don't have a great follow-up. I get my queen here, it's check. He moves over to here. I do have this. I think I'll just push the pawn. I don't think I need to worry about this too much right now. Maybe I do. He doesn't have this right now because of my knight. Yeah, so I still have ideas of this. Putting pressure on the pawn as well. I think I should not try and be so one-dimensional like that. The battery's cool, but it might not be my only move to try and pull off a victory here. But I do think that getting my queen over to this square is a good square to be on. He could bring a rook over to the file, to the open file, which would prevent me from doing that. In that case, I could just bring the rooks over and we could maybe start trading some rooks down. And he does that, so I think that I am okay with doing that. Bringing the rook over. I need to keep my queen on the file, so if he takes, I think I'll be recapturing with the rook. More than likely. Alright, I have a move like this, which hangs this. I do have a move like this. I could start going for pawns, potentially. I have a move like this. I guess if I move my knight over here, he can just push the pawn. But then I could come into here. I'll drop the bishop back and bring my queen over like this, maybe. I don't really know what my opponent's gonna play. I'm kind of like in a weird position. I don't really know what the best moves are in a position like this. But I am thinking about bringing my queen over to this square. Put some pressure on the pawn. So I can take with the pawn, but then I'll lose my queen, so I guess I have to do this. He is going to take this pawn now, which is something. So I can't do this because this will hang. So I'm going to take. I don't know why my opponent's thinking. No idea why he would think. I'm going to snag the pawn covering this square as well. And then I might even drop my queen back. Could give this check. My king does feel a little bit in a weird way. We are completely even material though. My opponent is having quite the think right now. All we need to do is, we're up quite a bit of time. If we can just not blunder, we could potentially get into maybe a kind of end game. I think this move is something. If I play this and he captures, I actually can't recapture though. So I think with that in mind, he's attacking this. He's also blocking this. So I can't give this check right now. Yeah, so if I play this, he can sack his bishop. I take, or I can't take. So it's not sacking his bishop. I think I need to get the bishop out of town. So I think I'm going to play a move like this. He's going to back his bishop up. And I won't be able to take until I move over, which is fine. We're going to bring the queen back. He's going to back up here. I'm going to move the king over. This is actually pretty hairy. It's a little more hairy than I gave it credit for. So he's going to back his bishop up. I actually have to... I can push the pawn, actually. That actually looks like it might work. So my opponent plays that move. I can bring my rook over and we can attack the bishop. If he goes here, I think I can push the pawn. We'll push the pawn. All right. We can go for a queen trade, maybe. Ooh. I just got checkmated. That sucks. Good game. Good game. That sucks. So I played really poorly, 69% accuracy. Book moves all up until... I mean, we played pretty well in the opening. This wasn't a good move. Backing up, or just coming all the way back is a better move. Okay. So if he takes, I take the bishop. That would have been a cool move. Bringing my queen up. I guess this is just not an issue. I was seeing, I guess, ghosts, so... Immediately taking the pawn back is a way better move. Definitely a mistake. Bringing my knight back over here was a better move. Definitely not a good move with my queen. Apparently this isn't such an issue, and I'm defending this, and I'm threatening the pawn potentially as well. Alright, so my opponent backsteps. I blunder right here. And yeah, that's all she wrote. So that was pretty tough. Crap, man, that sucks. Let's play another one. Today's video will do 2. Man, tough game, tough game. Alright, Hannibal 295, good luck. We are playing with the black pieces. Hannibal is from Algeria. So he's playing the Queen's Gambit, it looks like. I'm playing the Slav. He develops his knight. I will do the same. If I do that, he has a move like that, which is something, I suppose. I do think that that's probably what I should be doing, though, is getting my my bishop out. However, really don't know. I could also... that doesn't work. So maybe just a move like this. I really actually don't know in this position. We'll play a waiting move. I kind of want to see what he's going to do with the, like, if he's going to push the pawn or what he's going to try and do, maybe with the knight. I could just play with my bishop at home, is what I might end up just doing. So he takes. I can close everything up, but now I can go for the pin, which is what I was trying to achieve before. And now I can play e6. So with that in mind, I can bring the knight out. I'm not worried about it. Playing a move like e6 here shortly. They have blocked their light or their dark squared bishop kind of like in, which is something. So if I back up and he plays this move, I come here. I mean, I got a pretty cool scope of the board, and then he wouldn't be castling. I think I will drop the bishop back. If he plays this, I don't think that that can be but so good. Maybe it is, because he just played it immediately. So, he gets his knight here, is why. Bad moves by me. Bad moves by me. So he's putting pressure on my knight. So I could bring my queen over here, or maybe even up here. I could also just start I could play this move, putting pressure on his knight. If his knight takes, I have this capture, or this check, which I can take the bishop. If he doesn't take, I can potentially take. That doesn't really save me right here, though. So I think what I need to do is get my queen involved or bring my rook over. So I'll just bring the rook over, and then we'll play this move next. We can kick the bishop out. Definitely want to play e6 here shortly. So he'll probably take. I'll capture with the pawn. My opponent is playing wildness. So if I played this move right now and he takes with that, I can actually give the check. Oh, but then he can come back. That's the issue. Whoopsies. So I have a feeling he just wants to push now. That's what it seems like he wants to do. Should just drop my bishop back. That would have been smarter, but it's okay. That way I didn't have this disgusting pawn structure that he can just start to play for right now. I'm gonna get my knight developed. Again, if he takes, I'll recapture. And then I have a move like this. We'll see if he sees it. This is a crazy position. He's just messing up all my pawns, which is, I guess, something. I don't think I'm playing very well. But I do want to play a cheeky move like this. Attacking a pawn, getting out of that trouble. Let's see. So if I give this check and he does this, I could play that. If I push this, that's not behooving me at all. I think I'll just protect. I need to get my bishop developed and get my rooks connected somehow. So he'll probably push the pawn. I'll take, and I could see him recapturing with his bishop. Yeah, I'm kind of having a terrible game here, but I guess it is what it is. So we'll threaten his bishop with my rook, and then I'll threaten to put my knight here, depending on what he does with his bishop. Yeah, my opponent's playing in a super weird way, and it made me kind of play in an awkward way. These have been kind of rough games for me. Why can't I take this? Is there something that I'm unaware of? I'm not seeing it. I guess he thought he was going to win my knight with the check. I don't know. This is a fork straight up, but I can take it, so I do need to move my queen. I do have this check. So now he's threatening the fork for sure. All right. Giving this check, he can block with his bishop. I can capture. He captures. Then maybe something like this. We'll give the check. Then maybe I can move my queen over to here. He just moves his king. That's interesting. That is super interesting, actually. So I'm about to get forked, so I think that I should maybe move my queen over. So I'm looking at something like this, but we'll see. Really not sure what I want to do. Yeah, not a huge move by any means. I am gonna be losing defense of this, but so if I come down here and he pushes again, it's kind of obnoxious because I can't actually take because I don't have any defense for that piece. I could also just pin the pawn to the queen, which I think I might do. So now if I do come back and he pushes the pawn, I can actually take. He can't take because I will just capture the queen. I mean, I guess he could, but I don't think he should. So he's just going to start pushing pawns, which is whatever. He's going to play this, I'm sure. It is a move, but I don't think it is but so good. We're gonna castle. Yeah, my opponent is just playing like really girly moves. Very beta moves. Put the king in the corner. I can also just take this pawn now. He can take that pawn. So I'd imagine he'll probably try and take that pawn. I can just take this pawn. I could also play for getting my queen over to here to go to here. Probably should drop this bishop down if he doesn't take this pawn. Actually, if he does, I can almost do it. But if he does do it, if he takes this pawn with his queen, I'm gonna need to take with my rook, I think, or just move this knight. But I don't have any great squares to move it to. Actually, I really can't get away with that, I don't think. So yeah, I think taking like this would be the move, and then even something like that, maybe. And the queen is going to run out of some squares to exist. Put pressure here. I think the bishop move was alright. It defends the pawn, but excuse me. I can win a pawn. I can put my queen here, give the check. Right now, this is defending this, so is the queen, so that's not really but such a decent move for me. I actually could have taken this because it's pinned That would have been a really nice move. I didn't see that. Pawn is pinned to the king, so I straight up could just take this. I could actually do it this move. So maybe we will do that. That's a really nice find. I think he loses his queen like this. I think he has to take with his queen. Give the check, take the rook. All right. So we found the missing ingredients at the end. My opponent's computer failed. I didn't know what to do during the Slav. He got me way out of book. Best move is to take. So definitely not the backup move. I discovered quickly why this was a bad move. Should just backed my bishop up here as well, but I was also having a lot of pressure here. So I played this. This was just kind of not a good sequence really for me. I mean, it ended up being pretty safe for my king over here, but it felt really awkward. And I was really just like honed in on trying to give this check and winning the bishop. It didn't ever play out. So we had quite a few inaccuracies here. Getting triple pawns is apparently somehow the best. And it's because he can't take this way, he has to take this way. Yeah, I don't know. He blundered his bishop. I don't know what that was about. I think he thought that he was no matter what winning this, but I just come back, right? It wasn't even the best move. But then he wins this. Why does that not matter? I don't get it. Anyways, so we end up kind of in a position where I'm feeling pretty threatened. This pawn is just what he thinks is all the money in the world. I block a little bit. This was an inaccuracy by me because I have this move. So the best move for him was getting his king off of the pin. And my best move is, I'm sure, taking the pawn. Yeah. So I didn't see it until after I moved my queen. But now I saw it, and I took with the rook. I like this even a little better because it gets both my pieces into the game. I knew... Ooh, not the best. I have checkmate here. I could also just win the queen, right? This is wild. So he just hung his queen. I literally could just take his queen. I didn't see that. I think he thought he was going to be mated, but my move was the best move. Honestly, if I had noticed, I think if I was not being so tunnel visioned, I would have taken his queen for sure. No hesitation. But my attack ended up being pretty strong. This is the moment where it's like, dude, just take the queen. Should have done it earlier for sure, but it is what it is. Instead, we lose a rook for the queen, which is not nearly as impressive as what I was achieving before. We get the rook right back, and my opponent resigns. So he played a really great opening, apparently. And then, I guess, like I said, his computer failed him because he just played, like, perfect in the opening. And then his middle game, he just did not do anything. So, I don't know. I always think it's weird playing people that play kind of in that way. Especially when the opening was not, like, a typical opening. Like, this is weird. I mean, like, he messed me all up. I mean, it wasn't super weird, but he just pushed pawns. It seemed very computer-like. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's what it seemed like. But it was a lot of me just kind of getting my pieces tempoed on. So, like, to me, none of this seemed very weird, but yeah, I don't know. The pawn put, that was a weird move to me. Him not taking the bishop before or taking here just seemed pretty unnatural to me. But it is what it is. He did a good job until the very end. And that was a weird move too. So, very interesting. Sorry I didn't play, but so well today, guys. It was kind of a win and then a loss, so we're almost kind of right back around where we were. I hope you enjoyed everything, and yeah, I will see you guys tomorrow.